Black Goose TV family, salute to the people. As you already know, I'm back again with some more boxing news. We finna talk about it. In this particular video, I'm actually very excited to be speaking about and putting this information out to the boxing community because it has to do with my guy, one of my favorite boxers that I love to watch. And, probably you guys watch a lot of my videos, be like, man, nigga, it seems like you like everyone as a boxer. No, make sure you pay attention to the videos because I'm very specific when it comes to, hey, this is really a fighter I really love, and y'all might get a whole lot of bias fluent. So be ready. Disclaimer on the bottom, because I see I got to put the disclaimer down there because for some reason, y'all don't understand. Well, your boy might give a biased take. So I'm letting y'all know right now. What just happened? Fluence just left. Bias fluence just entered the building. So your boy is finna be somewhat biased with the things I'm saying. It is what it is. At the end of the day, though, the boxing news that I'm reporting is factual, legit. As you can see with this article right here, I ain't making this shit up. Anthony Yarde, finally, he's come a long goddamn way. And I actually, me personally, me being a fan of Anthony Yarde, I thought this moment, this opportunity was going to come a lot sooner. And he was in a position at one point in his career for that opportunity in that moment to come a lot sooner when he fought Sergey Kovalev, back, a couple years ago, 3 years ago, and he suffered his first loss. Obviously, if he would have beat Kovalev, he would have been in the prime position that he is in now, right? But Yarde has had his setbacks, and even me personally, I wouldn't even call it any of the losses that he had as setbacks. I actually would call it as a learning experience because if you guys know who Yarde is, if you guys followed his career, he started very late in boxing. He was someone who just walked in to Tunde Ajayi's. By the way, salute to you, Tunde Ajayi. I'm still not sure if that was really you who commented on the video, but if you are following the page, I appreciate you. Lions in the camp. Lions in the camp. You don't know how long of a fan I've been. So if that is really you, I appreciate you. You never responded to me asking about, an interview on this YouTube channel. So I'm assuming it probably wasn't you because, hey, if you don't want to do it, just tell me no. But if you're down to or you're just waiting for it to grow, hopefully I hear from you. Anyways, let's get back to the point. Lions in the camp. So if you guys know about Anthony Yarde's journey, right? Very interesting journey. Started late in the boxing side of the game. In a sense, he kind of reminds me of Francis Ngannou's journey when it comes to the MMA side of the game, where, I don't know if he was homeless or not, but he was just trying to find himself. He wanted to make a difference in his life. He ended up, Tunde Ajayi saw him outside he came into Tunde Ajayi's gym, saw him working, et cetera, at a pretty late age. I'm going to say around like in his early 20s, 2021, something like that, maybe 18, 19, whatever. But, when it comes to starting boxing, he was very late in reference to, we know that usually when you start boxing, you want to be around like the, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 age, and maybe even 11. It's very rare that you can come into the game at 18, 19, 20 and have success, especially in the smaller weight divisions. Obviously, light heavyweight is not a smaller weight division, but there's still a lot of skill in light heavyweight division. Usually you only see late bloomers or people starting to sport late in boxing in the heavier divisions. And by heavier division, I mean one division, right? Only heavyweight. But let's not get diverted here. So I'm going to continue on with his story in case you guys don't know, give you guys a little bit of background. Walked into Tunde Ajayi's gym. Tunde Ajayi saw him. He saw him working, saw him spar some. He was like, I like this guy. He has natural talent. Tunde Ajayi put him under his wing and basically, brought him up from nothing in the sport of boxing. I'm not saying he was nothing outside of boxing, but I'm like in the sport of boxing, basically brought him up from being an unknown to who he is today. He had really no amateur boxing. He had no amateur boxing background. They did not put him in the amateurs to start off with. They went straight to being, hey, we're going to go pro. So he had a lot of his learning curves in real time, right? And a lot of people criticized him for a long period of time. If you guys don't know, Anthony Yarde was a YouTube boxer before Logan Paul, KSI, even, quote unquote, in his disrespectful Ryan Garcia. He was a social media boxer. People saw him as, isn't that the social media guy? Isn't that the Lions in the camp guy? Lions in the camp. Isn't that the, I'm sparring with my trainer, but not really sparring with my trainer? It might be different. Isn't this the same guy who said he doesn't spar to prepare for his fights, et cetera, et cetera? So many different rumors about this guy. Like, so hopefully I'm shedding some light on maybe some of you guys, US boxing fans who don't know about Yarde, but Yarde took the same criticism. Y'all see the way I'm sweating too. You already know. I told y'all, I just came back from my workout not too long ago. So me still sweating, it shows I put in work today. So make sure y'all do too. Daily check-in, check that out. But, Yarde was getting the criticism Ryan Garcia gets now. He was getting the criticism that, KSI's, Logan Paul, all these guys get as being supposedly internet boxers. That's what they gave Yarde. Because they said you have no boxing background as far as amateurs. You came into the sport late and you're fighting a whole bunch of cans. And we know you more about your mitt work on the internet than we do about your wins. Well, everything changed for Yarde. And let me base this too when it comes to this, because hopefully I'm shedding some new light for a lot of the U.S. fans, because when it came to the light heavyweight division about 4 or 5 years ago, there was some up and comers, well, not up and comers, but there was names that everyone was like, let's look out for 5, 6 years ago, whatever it may be, right? Obviously, Artur Beterbiev, right? Everyone was talking about Artur Beterbiev. He's that guy. Joe Smith Jr. started to slowly make his way into the ranks. So who's Joe Smith Jr. at light heavyweight, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, Sergey Kovalev was dominating the division, but once Sergey Kovalev got that loss to Andre Ward, and we started switching in these dimensions of hey, we're passing the torch, that's when, you know, Beterbiev started being talked about. Joe Smith Jr. started to be talked about. Now we're moving on. Then all of a sudden we're hearing about Joshua Buatsi. Oh, Joshua Buatsi, who's this guy signed under AJ? So skilled. Then we start hearing about Dmitry Bivol. Right? Who's Bivol? Bivol seems like he's the next best thing. Russia, Olympian, Then we slowly started hearing about Anthony Yarde, not due to his background. See, the difference between everyone else I mentioned and Anthony Yarde was we started hearing about him because he started blowing up social media-wise because of his mitt work, okay? So that's why he had such, you know, a big hater and dislike fan base, because his blow up was different than the others. Everyone else was like, oh, these guys are good. Look at what they're doing. Yarde was more so like, who is he? He has no background, but he looks absolutely amazing when it comes to these clips, right? So that happened about 5 years ago, right? We saw all the trajectory. We've now, you know, 2022, we see where everyone ended up landing. And when it came to Yarde, he ended up having to fight opposition that maybe he shouldn't have fought at the time, and took an L that ultimately, in my opinion, propelled his career in the long run for a better outcome, longevity, right? In the time, it seemed like the worst case scenario, but now looking back at it, it was the best case scenario, because losing to Kovalev the way you did, could have beat him. But, you know, just some things weren't executed the right way. Don't need to, you know, revisit that. Big reason why Anthony Yarde added someone new to his camp for the Lyndon Arthur 2 fight. Then he fought Lyndon Arthur, lost that fight, right? It seemed like such a big step back for Yarde, but then he came back, knocked out or stopped Arthur, however you want to put it, and he's back in the mix of things, talks for like heavyweight, which I'm very happy about. Real quick, I don't think he lost against Lyndon Arthur the first time. I thought he won both fights, but a lot of people came at me about that. And a lot of people, hey, just y'all gotta understand, when it comes to my favorite fighter, I do a lot of research. So if I'm telling you to bet on that motherfucker, don't be hesitant, because I have a pretty good percentage rate for that. But anyways, I just went through a very quick run through of Yarde to just kind of rise and why he got so much hate. And finally, we have some respect starting to come his way because of him, you know, having a couple losses and be able to come back and look amazing and improve on that, which a lot of people think he wasn't capable of, and saying he's not an elite fighter, etc., because of his background or, you know, lack thereof. It is a beautiful thing to finally hear, because I was wondering what is next for Yarde after beating Arthur. What is next for him? Are they going to start putting him back in that light heavyweight conversation of possibly getting these big fights like a Beterbiev, Joe Smith Jr., Buatsi, Bivol, things in those cases? Because he was in that, he was always in. His name was always presented when you're talking about these other guys in the light heavyweight division 3, 4, 5 years ago. Once he took the L's, they kind of took him out. So seeing this article, I was like, hell yeah! I was like, shout out to you, Yarde. Let's see what's going on. So let's get into the nitty gritty. I'm already long-winded with it, but it's all good. Hopefully, I'm not disappointed. Hopefully, I don't go into this, you know, article and all of a sudden it starts saying, yeah, Anthony Yarde, he has no hope. They're hoping to make this fight, but it probably won't happen. It's a long shot. I'm hoping that Yarde is literally the runner-up for this particular fight. I know you guys are saying, well, what about Canelo? Hey, look, as we move toward the end of the year, more and more, my information is coming out as solid, right? Because you see Eddie Hearn continuing to tell us, oh, all of a sudden, Canelo wants to fight in London, right? I'm just telling you guys right now, if he beats Bivol, if he beats Triple G, he will be fighting John Ryder at the end of the year, not the winner of Beterbiev versus Smith. It's not even close. Like, that's not even finna happen. Like, he would have to sign a whole new deal for that to happen. That's what people don't understand. So, fuck out of here. But let's see what this particularly says. So, British promoter Frank Warren realizes that he needs to be extra prudent in the matchmaking for his charge Anthony Yarde, since it appears that the hard-hitting light heavyweight contender is on the cusp of another shot at the divisional title, or possibly 3. In the recent interview, Warren said he expects Yarde, the number 1 ranked contender within the WBO, to face the winner of Joe Smith Jr. and Artur Beterbiev, which will reportedly take place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. So he is the mandatory for number 1 at WBO. So let's go to the actual specific quote. I'm looking forward to the fight that Top Rank are putting on in June. We've got an agreement with them that the winner will fight our man, and we'll do that over here in the UK. So he is literally saying, so this is not false reports. This is me jumping the gun. He has literally said in the quote, talking to seconds out, that there is an agreement already in place that the winner of Beterbiev versus Joe Smith Jr. will fight Yarde, and apparently it's going to be in the UK. Okay, that's what he's saying. He could be lying. He could be, being extra with it, right? But that's what he's saying. He obviously, the number one challenge is the winner of Joe Smith and Beterbiev. He's referring to Yarde. Obviously, we don't want to jeopardize our position, and I'm assuming they're saying that because they probably don't plan to take another fight in between. They're probably waiting to see what happens between Joe Smith Jr. and Beterbiev, and then move forward. So, Yarde 30 was able to exact a measure of revenge in the rematch held last December, stopping Arthur in a dominant fashion. It's like 4 rounds. Since then, Yarde, who has regained the number one spot within W, has been biding his time, hoping to gain a piece of the title action once again. So that, for anyone who's a Yarde fan like I am, anyone who's a little bit under a Yarde fan, because I'm like, if there's like a over the top like bar for being a Yarde fan, I'm like way up here. So if you're here, or here, if you're like some of the Yarde fan, this is amazing news because this would be the biggest step up ever for him to fight either Beterbiev or Joe Smith Jr. I actually think Yarde beats Joe Smith Jr. I think Yarde has a lot of trouble with Beterbiev because of just the constant pressure. But don't be surprised. Yarde's defense is impeccable when it comes to light heavyweight division. That boy's defense. Tunde Ajayi, I'm not going to go over the top because Tunde Ajayi, if you watch his career, he was a very good defensive fighter. He's passed that on to Yarde. Yarde is very good defensively. Power, comes forward, slick boxer. Beterbiev is going to be a problem, though, because he's such a big fucking boy. But I would love to see Yarde get this shot. Let me know what you guys think about this. I know it's a little bit different than usually what I do. Because why? Because I'm talking about Anthony Yarde. How many people are talking about Anthony Yarde? And who's giving you the truth, too? People are going to keep telling you, oh, Beterbiev, Joe Smith Jr., Canelo, because it gets clicks. But Canelo is nowhere in the – it's not even in the atmosphere when it comes to getting the winner of this, okay? Yarde is the number one contender when it comes to – or number one ranked WBO. He's a mandatory most likely for whoever wins this. Fight between Beterbiev and Joe Smith Jr. Obviously, I think if Beterbiev loses to Smith, there's probably going to be a rematch clause. But either way, what do you guys think about this news? Are you guys excited? Is it something you guys want to see? How do you guys feel about Yarde? Et cetera, et cetera. Let me know. Drop it in the comments below, baby. Don't be shy. Let me know what you guys think. As always, I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Blessings, salutations, and I'm out.